Welcome, everybody. It's 3 o'clock on Thursday, and that means you're joining us today for Travel Talks. I'm Diane Cook, the owner and principal travel designer for Seven Seas to Sea Travel. I specialize in your not-so-routine travel adventures. Today, my guest, a dear friend and colleague who I've met through Virtuoso Travel Week several years ago, is joining us from Africa. So we did record this yesterday because it's 10 o'clock at night there now, and she's had a full day. So I hope that you will just settle back and I love listening to her accent. Just join me in visualizing that we are out on the Serengeti and really enjoying Africa, authentic and off the beaten path.
Thank you, Diane, and thank you for the invite to join you on this Travel Talk Thursday. It's going to be a whirlwind tour, if you like, of Southern Africa. There is just so much to see, to experience, to do on the continent. And as you know, we specialize in Southern Africa. So I'm going to be looking at the countries that we operate in, as well as touching on a little bit of East Africa. And today it's going to be a 5-star journey through Africa. And Denise, who is your agent with Seven Seas to Sea at the agency, we work very closely together, and we will look after you every step of the way. So you don't need to worry about anything. Wilderness Safaris is 38 years old, the company, and so we've been around the block, and we know what we're doing, and we do specialize in Southern Africa. So first up, we're going to look at the 7 countries that I'm going to touch on briefly, and you'll notice that there are 5 that have orange tags and 2 that have black. Now, the 5 tags that are orange countries are the countries that we specialize in and that we have our own lodges in. Kenya and South Africa, we don't own our own lodges, but we do offer services there, and we can book safaris there for you, booking through our preferred partners. So 7 countries. Kenya first up, and Nairobi has actually grown through the pandemic of last year. It's grown in stature, and it's become sort of a new gateway into the world of safaris through Jomo Kenyatta, the airport in Nairobi. 2 different properties and DMCs to touch on is Segura, which actually was one of our properties in our portfolio. It's now not a wilderness safaris property, but we do offer it and we do sell it. That is in the Wikipedia Plateau. And then Governors, which Wilderness Safaris part owns. And they will be able to do all their different properties in Kenya, as well as the Masai Mara, which has the migration that everybody knows about and wants to experience. Rwanda, that's our next country. And most people know it for gorillas, but it really is so much more than that. Kigali, the capital of Rwanda, is very safe, very clean, and really friendly country. It is our lodges there, the Sati and Magashi, are the epitome of regenerative travel. which takes sustainability one step further and actually gives back to the country, to the wildlife, to the communities. If you go and stay there, there's actually a give back that happens at these different lodges. It has markets, art, culture, the Genocide Museum, and then obviously Basati. So this is one of our lodges, and it's won many awards in its short lifespan. It's only been operating since 2017, including 4th best lodge in Africa in the Condé Nast Traveller Awards. Basati differs from any other 5-star property in Rwanda in that it is built in the traditional Rwandan architecture and has this cultural immersion when you're inside your unit. And you can do all sorts of different activities other than the gorilla trekking. One of the projects that I love is our reforestation project. It's not just about planting a tree, but it's about regenerating this area, 42 hectares of land that Wilderness Safaris bought back in 2015, which was agricultural land. It's on a slope, so there were no people staying on the land, and not terribly fertile, being on a slope. So we bought the land, and we have to date, I think the last count was 41,000 trees that have been planted. And with that comes better, cleaner water, prevents soil erosion, and creates habitats for other wildlife. Just recently, we've had golden monkeys at the lodge, which were never seen prior to 2017. We have had jackal, we've had jackal pups, we've had serval, and a number of different bird species as well. So it's all intertwined and interrelated, and that's what you, the client, will get to experience staying at Basati. Just to touch on a couple of things that have changed with the gorilla trekking. It's now only 6 people. It used to be 8. It's now only 6 people per trek. And because we share 98% DNA with gorillas, they can contract a number of our human diseases. So they have to be extremely careful. And thus a COVID negative test is required 48 hours prior to seeing the gorillas. So if you've come into Rwanda, or if you've come into Kenya and then you've flown from Kenya to Rwanda, which is a very easy flight and very doable, you would then be required to do another COVID test prior to going on the gorilla trek. Next up, our lodge called Magashi, which is in Akagera National Park, which is now on the eastern side of Rwanda. And it's the perfect opportunity to combine an extraordinary safari along with your gorilla experience. It has a citizen science project that you, the client, can get involved in. And we have collared a number of lions, and we have reintroduced black rhino. We also track the different individual leopards that are in our private concession. So you as the client, you can join our head guide and go and find a lion population and then help us with the data capturing and the recordings of these known individuals. So the lions are collared, the leopards Diane, I don't know if you know, but the spots on the leopard's muzzle are like our fingerprints. And so you can actually count the leopard spots on where the whiskers are and thereby identify different leopards. So clients can join us doing that.
Oh, that is, I did not know that. That's like their fingerprints. How cool is that?
Yeah. So, and obviously it takes some practice to count those leopard spots, but it's obviously important to know the different leopards that are in the areas, the different lion populations, and collate the information for possible future management that may be required. Another really interesting bird that occurs in this area is the African shoebill, and it's highly endangered. And Diane, as you know, every wilderness safaris lodge has a purpose behind it, and Magashi's purpose is to conserve Rwanda's last protected savanna ecosystem. And if we protect that ecosystem, that habitat, then we'll be saving endangered species like the black rhino and the African shoebill. Right, we've touched on what is officially called East Africa. Let's move down to Southern Africa, which includes Namibia, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Rwanda, and we'll end at Botswana. First up is Zambia, and I like to think of Zambia as wildest Africa. So it's almost like what Botswana was 30 years ago. Very wild, very remote, and this massive, massive national park, Kafue National Park. Part of the park is made up of the Busanga Plains, which is this picture of the buffalo. And you do have these migrations of wildlife. So you get wildebeest migration, zebra, and thousands of buffalo without the people, which is something really special, and I think sought after, and will be more sought after as clients begin to travel and want that outdoor experience, but with less people. So that's what you're going to find in Zambia. There's easy access to Zambia. Again, you can fly from Rwanda into Lusaka, and then from Lusaka you will join wilderness. Well, we actually subcontract. So we will fly you, Wilderness Air will fly you into our different camps within Zambia. The two lodges that we have in Kafue National Park are seasonal lodges. So they're only open in our winter, which is roughly, the camps vary, but April through to November. And that's because the Busanga Plains is inaccessible in summer due to the flooding and the seasonal rain. One of the activities that you can do in Zambia is hot air ballooning. And it's just the most incredible experience to float silently over the Busanga Plains, and largely the wildlife just doesn't know what this thing is. So they'll stop and look at the hot air balloon as you're floating over the plains. Zambia is also best known for its tree climbing lions. And this isn't a different species, but it's just an adaptation that the lions have learned. If you recall that previous slide of the Busanga Plains, it's very flat. There's very little elevation. So if you're a predator, you need height to be able to see where your prey is. So the lions learn to climb trees. And it's also cooler, so you'll get a breeze. So they're often seen in the trees, sleeping, watching, cooling off. But what isn't well known about the lion population is that the Africa total population of lions has dramatically reduced by almost half the numbers in just 25 years. And that's why Wilderness Safaris joined the Lionscape Coalition, and we donate $50,000 US dollars a year to be part of the Lion Recovery Fund. And the only way we can do this is by guests staying with Wilderness Safaris at our lodges, and then this donation is given back to the Lion Recovery Fund to conserve Africa's lions. And there are now 8 members of this coalition, and we're actually Africa. We're competitors, but in the field of tour operating. But we have realized the need to conserve lions, and therefore joined this Lionscape Coalition. The other area in Zambia is obviously Victoria Falls, and it can be very well seen from the Zambian side, both the Zambia side and the Zimbabwe side. At different times of year are seen better, sometimes in the Zambia side. So this is, I was there in April, and if you're on the Zimbabwe side in April, which is when it's flowing at its highest velocity, you actually can't see it. It's just this mist and this mini rainforest. So better to actually view it from the Zambia side in March, April, May, into June. And then if you're staying at our lodge, which is called Tokalea, on the Zambia side, we will actually take you across to the Zimbabwe side if you want to, or if you prefer to see it from Zimbabwe. Tokalea is about 12 kilometers from Livingstone town, and there's so much to do and to see at this lodge. It's really the best place to either ease into a safari or to ease out of a safari before you head back home. Zimbabwe, again, easy access from Zambia. We have our own tour operating based in Zimbabwe, and they come and collect you, and they will walk you through the process, crossing the bridge into Zambia. They obviously border, they share a border and a bridge, and we will walk you across that bridge, and you're in Zimbabwe. And it's a really excellent value safari destination, and an all year round destination, as you'll get to see now. There are 2 different areas, national parks in Zimbabwe, that we operate out of. The first one being Mana Pools National Park, and it's in the heart of the Zambezi Valley, with a broad river, floodplains, riverine, woodland, and the Rift Valley escarpment in the background. And Wilderness Safaris has its own private concession with about 10 kilometers of river frontage. And we have these wonderful guests that visit us, including elephant, and there's a tame, in inverted commas. He's conditioned, an eland who comes into camp, eats the anapods from the trees, which are very rich in protein, and they frequently visit the camp in August, September, October, when these anapods are fruiting. as mentioned, Zimbabwe is an all-year-round destination. So the other national park that we operate out of is Hwange, and we have our own private concession, which is alongside the national park. So there's no fence, but where it benefits your clients is that only the clients that staying in our concession are allowed in our concession, but we can go into the national park and drive around the national park as well. So it gives the clients exclusivity, privacy, but also if there's something happening in the national park, we can drive across and have a look at it too. Some of the densest concentrations of wildlife in Africa are actually found in Hwange National Park. And one of my favorite areas is the Ngamu Plains. So this is in our private concession. In summer, it's short grass and it's like a little Serengeti where you have these concentrations of zebra, buffalo, giraffe, eland, sable, bat-eared fox, jackal, and because it's rich, short, sweet grass that your antelope species like, they congregate here and they give birth here. So so you have these lots and lots of baby impala, and with that you get these predator-prey interactions. So which obviously attracts your lion and your cheetah and your leopard. Another activity that clients can do is we have these water points that are set up throughout our concession areas, which Wilderness Safaris looks after. And it's part of the history of the reserve. You know, it was started in the 70s, and the animals know where these water holes are. So it's not as if we can shut them off. And they congregate here in the dry season. So that's our winter. And I've literally seen animals running down to these water holes to drink. We've got a log pile hide at this camp at Little Makalolo, which is right at the water hole. And I was literally 3 meters away from a wild elephant that was drinking fresh water. So it's quite a spectacular activity to do and to experience. And then another unusual activity that clients can do is to visit our anti-poaching unit. They are based at Wekau, and they patrol the eastern boundary of our concession and part of the Hwange National Park. And as you know, Diane, very, very important to continue having anti-poaching units and teams that patrol the area, that remove snares, that are preventing poaching of animals. And Wilderness Safaris has continued throughout last year to support these different initiatives and to make sure that the wildlife that's in our concessions are as well protected as they can possibly be. Mm-hmm. Our next country is Namibia, and Namibia is vast. It's a huge country. It's long and narrow, relatively. Unfathomable beauty, scenic beauty, and desert adapted wildlife. And I like to divide the country loosely up into 4 different areas, and we'll start in the north and work south. So the northern region is called the Kouaka Veld, and we have a lodge here. It's known as the end of the earth because it's desolate, it's isolated, stark plains, ancient river valleys. But what you have is this permanent Kunene River running right past the camp. And so water obviously provides life to a variety of animals, including rhino, elephant, springbok, giraffe, and zebra. So that's Kouakaveld, and all about the ruggedness and the harshness of the environment, and yet animals and plants are still able to survive here. Mm. Slightly further south is Skeleton Coast region and our lodge Juana, where you can also do a day trip. And if you stay 3 nights or more, it's included in your rate, to the Skeleton Coast. We have this area is described as having lonely beaches, but there's actually lots to see and explore. Moa Bay has a museum, and they'll give you a little bit of history about different shipwrecks that have happened on the coast, as well as the deafening sounds of the seal colonies. And it's a full day outing, and that's why we need 3 or more days in Juana camp, because it's the weather in the desert is very unpredictable, and you get these mists rolling in, and then obviously we can't fly. So out of 3 days, you've got a really good chance of doing this full day itinerary, and you will drive one way to Moa Bay, which is a good 3.5 hours. You spend the late morning, midday at Moa Bay, looking at the colonies, learning about the shipwrecks, seeing the museum, having lunch, and then you'll fly back with Wilderness Air. So it's really, really nice full day activity while you're there. The next region, further south, so we're now in sort of central Namibia, if you like, is Damaraland. And this picture epitomizes the area: flat top mountains, broad valleys, and these dry riverbeds. What happens though is the rivers flow underground. So you won't necessarily see water in the river, but they are flowing, and you see these tree-lined river courses, which allow your larger species to survive. And we have 3 different lodges in this region, with activities that include prehistoric rock art or a visit to a community. But if you're looking for some adrenaline, then you can do black rhino tracking. And this is based out of Desert Rhino Camp, where you will go with our NGO that we've partnered with, Save the Rhino Trust, and you drive out to wherever the rhino may be. They are monitored every day by Save the Rhino Trust monitors. And you can see in this picture, there's actually ear notches. So this is how we monitor, or how we actually notch the rhino, and then we're later able to identify him or her by these different ear notch patterns. And you'll drive to a certain point and then get out and walk to a safe distance from where the rhino is, and actually be able to see these magnificent creatures. And what's really amazing about this lodge is that a percentage of the profits of you, the client, staying there goes back to this rhino conservation, both to the Save the Rhino Trust, as well as the communities with whom Wilderness Safaris has partnered. So there are 3 different communities that we are partnering with in the Maraland region. And then the last area in Namibia is down south, and that is the Sossusvlei area. And this is known for its red dunes, some of the tallest dunes in the world, Big Daddy, which you can, if you want to, climb. It's about splendor and solitude, and there are prehistoric flays also in the area. And you can go there for a morning activity, and the guide will explain how these dead trees actually were once in a river course. And yeah, and it's just an incredible experience to see these dead trees, and there's absolutely no water around, and you just wonder how they survived there originally. And then also we outsource hot air ballooning as well, as an activity in the Sossusvlei area. And our last country is Botswana, and probably known as the holy grail of safaris. The Okavango Delta, well, let me begin. There are 3 different regions within Botswana, which most people don't realize. There's the Kalahari Plains down south, the Linyanti in the north, and then the Okavango Delta in the northwest of the country. The Delta is actually a World Heritage Site, and it's the most incredible thing because it was a fluke of nature. And back 50-odd thousand years ago, there was a shift in the tectonic plates, and it created this slight, very, very slight depression. And so the water that falls in Angola actually flows down 2 different rivers where it bursts its banks, and then it has this really slow what we call inundation or flooding into the delta every year. But let me show you Linyanti first, which is the northern area. Magnificent, private, huge, 120-odd thousand hectares of private concession. We have 4 different lodges in the Linyanti. This is a winter picture, and this is your river frontage of 2 of the lodges that are on the Linyanti River. There's different water courses. There's a marsh, there's a river, and there's a channel. And depending on the water levels, you can board our Queen Sylvia and take a barge, sunset barge cruise down the Linyanti River. And then onto the Delta, where lions have learned to swim and antelope are aquatic. And, you know, we all know that cats don't like water, but the lions of the Delta have developed ways of surviving in the Delta and thriving. They've learned how to chase and capture different prey species that they wouldn't normally capture. And if you're a mammal expert and you study lions, you can actually see that these lions have developed stronger forearm muscles, and that's, you know, for grabbing prey and for wading through the swamps, which is quite an incredible thing. And then also incredible diverse species in the Okavango, and that's what makes the Delta so special. I like to think of Botswana as having diversity So East Africa is about quantity. You see thousands and thousands and thousands of zebra and wildebeest in East Africa when you go on the Great Migration. Botswana is about quality or diversity. Different, incredible different species that have adapted to living here. This is a Sitatunga, very shy, very secretive, but they have these webbed feet and oil that protects their skin. And to evade predators, they actually will go into deep water and only their nostrils will stick out whilst they hide away from predators. And they live in this water for 11 out of the 12 months of the year. So these incredible adaptations that happen in the Delta. And then it's not only our antelope that get their feet wet, but our clients too. And one of the activities that you can do is what I like to refer to as dining on the Delta floor. And this is what the Delta water looks like. It's these crystal clear waters. And we obviously only go in, half a meter deep, and make sure that it's 100% safe for clients. But it's an incredible activity and this is just you and your group of people that you're traveling with. There are no other people in the area when you are doing this activity. So it's incredibly exclusive, incredibly private, and that's what we offer clients. One of our unique selling points. And then just your accommodation. I just got a couple of different slides too, and it really depends on what you want to experience. So from an adventure style tent, this is Pilo, which is a water-based camp, to your mid-range 5-star. All of our lodges are 5-star accommodation. And then within that 5-star bracket, we have different categories. So this is mid-range classic lodge, which has both water and land activities. To your premier lodge, this is Abu, our most luxurious. And it doesn't mean that there are different levels of animal activities. They're all exceptionally good. But your style of camp, your style of tent, your size of tent, and then your food offering. So at an adventure camp, you will have 4 meals at all the lodges. You get 4 meals a day because we have high tea as well. That's all inclusive. All drinks are inclusive except premier branded specific brands. But so at an adventure camp, you will have 2 mains to choose from, either a meat or a vegetarian option. At a classic lodge, you would have 3 choices of mains to choose from. And at a premier, you would have 4. So just the variety increases as you go up to the most luxurious lodge. But whether it's the big stuff or the small stuff, we're there to share it all with the clients. And then I just wanted to touch on our South Africa option, our DMC services. As I mentioned at the beginning, we don't own any lodges in South Africa. But if you know of a lodge, if a friend of yours has been to a lodge and you really want to go to that lodge, we can absolutely book it for you if it's part of our preferred partner portfolio. And we offer a full DMC service, so destination management company in South Africa, where we will do touring for you. We can book hotels for you. We can book day tours for you as well. So it makes it a really easy itinerary for you, the client, because Diane and I will work together to put the safari as well as an add-on, if you want, together for you. And that's Wilderness Safaris in a nutshell.
Oh, that was so wonderful. Thank you, Alison. I learned something every time. I have like a page of notes, and I am always amazed at what I take away. One of the things that you've talked about before is that, you know, in today's world, sustainability should just be the ticket to play. You know, this should not be, you know,
absolutely,
just, you know, but regenerative, which is what Wilderness Safaris is. And this is one of the reasons why Wilderness Safaris is one company that I truly believe in and work with when I have clients going to Southern and Eastern Africa, because their reason why they are in business is to put back into the communities and the nature of where they operate. So it's, you know, as a company, of course, we all need to be successful, but when all that profit goes back into the communities and success of all of the people living there, their children as they're growing and going to school. And I know I've heard stories of somebody as a child was in the Wilderness Safari school, supported school, and now I believe they're a pilot. Yeah. And, you know, so like there's, and that's not just one. I mean, there's stories of, you know, game rangers and, you know, the different managers. You know, those are good stories. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we've got so many of them. And another one that just comes to mind is, you know, with the reforestation project at Rwanda, at Basati, when we were in negotiations with the landowners to buy all those plots of land back in 2015, the locals heard and they learned what we wanted to do, and a couple of them went off and started collecting seeds and growing trees off on his own accord. And then when we went back into the area and, you know, and negotiations were further along, and we said, okay, well, we want to start a nursery because we want to grow indigenous trees in the area. And at the time, there wasn't one in Rwanda. And he's now our head nurseryman. And, you know, and it's just, yeah, it's just, there's so many stories that that truly show and authenticate what Wilderness Safaris does. And I know that's why you're a supporter of Wilderness Safaris. And I think also, you know, as we navigate this new world we find ourselves in, a lot more people that are traveling are wanting to know that they are traveling with a reputable company and a company that gives back to the country that they're operating in, that makes a difference to the economy of that country, as well as the wildlife, as you've said. So yes.
Absolutely, and also that you do things so responsibly and ethically. Never once will you see, you know, around a herd of elephants or something like 50 Jeeps, you know, everybody trying to take pictures. That is not at all what this experience is. And there is always a reason in travel. The price is what it is. But I mean, for Canadians, North Americans, you know, going to Africa, this is not something we do every year like we go to the Caribbean, you know. If we're going to do it, let's do it right and support the companies that do support their countries. So, oh, this has been so fabulous. I'm just thinking, I can't think of anything else specifically that might come in as a question, but for all my clients, please do send me your questions. I promise to get you the answer. I'll go straight to Alison and we'll come back to you. So I can't thank you enough for your time and your support being here today. And I look forward to working with you as I help my clients plan their African adventure. So thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you, Diane. Thank you so much. It was lovely being with you today.
Definitely. You have a fabulous rest of the day, everybody. Bye. And we're back here in Canada now after that amazing adventure into Africa. I hope you enjoyed that time. And I just see there is one question in the box. Oh, okay. Oh, if anybody does have any questions, don't hesitate to send me an email. Let me know. I will get you the answers. Africa is one of those continents, you know, on so many people's bucket lists. And, you know, even though right now we're not traveling, we're dreaming and we're planning for 2022 and 2023 and 2024, because some of these experiences, we need to be making plans 2 and 3 years in advance in order to get you exactly what you want and not just having to settle for whatever's left. So you can see, I hope, through these travel talks, as well as I bring my supplier colleagues on to speak with you, that there's a reason I work with these companies specifically. And the value that I bring to the travel planning equation, you know, goes beyond the keyboard. You know, the reason I work with specific companies to bring you these experiences, you can see the impact. You know, if you were trying to figure it out on your own, or work with somebody who doesn't invest in these times of, you know, building these human connections, you know, they don't know about these things. And this is where I try to really show the difference that my travel planning expertise and knowledge comes to play. So I'm here when you're ready. And I look forward to helping you wherever you are looking to cross off your bucket list next. And thank you so much for joining me today. We'll see you next Thursday. And just so you know, next Thursday, we will have my colleague from Country Walkers will be joining us, and Vermont Biking Tours. So this is a company that does interesting country walks all around the world. So if you're a walker, we'd love to see you. Come join us, and, you know, maybe it gives you an idea, or you at least see what other options are out there. But that's who will be with us next week. So thanks again, and take care.